Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Happy game day. Yeah, man. It's game day in Nashville. Thursday night football, 2 nights, but it's 1 night before Santa Claus shows up. There's a lot going on in town.
I haven't recovered from the last game.
Yeah, I don't. Has the team?
Hey, man. You know what? I have to say, in my later years, and I'm talking about more year 9 and 10, we would have a Thursday game, and I didn't feel like I had recovered yet. That's when I knew I was getting up there in age. I was still doing everything that I normally do. Come Thursday, I had just felt like I could get up to warp speed, as I would call it, back up to playing in a game, an actual game. But it was sometimes, man, I couldn't get back till Friday or Saturday. And I'm doing all the same things.
How many years in?
I said 9 to 10.
Okay, so right near the end.
Yeah. Your body starts telling you that it takes longer to recover to get back out there. And I'm doing everything, and it kind of surprised me because it kind of happened in the middle of the season, and you're still trying to recover, and you're still getting on game day still feeling pretty good, but it takes longer for the recovery to play at a high level. And that gets it makes you a little nervous because you don't know when it's going to come back.
Sometimes guys retire because of that, right? Like they can still play on Sunday, but they can't do the stuff to make their body able to play anymore.
Well, that as well as practice.
Yeah.
And when I say practice, I'm talking about, some, coaches want you to practice at about 85%. If you go, I can run around out here for around 70, that's not good enough.
Andy Reid's he's a fast practice guy, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I firmly believe that's why I never pulled a muscle, all these soft tissue stuff. I never pulled a muscle. I was there. I said, hey, man, I can give you about 75 at practice. I mean, it's just practice. I know what I can do in the game. You've already seen me what I can do.
Right. There's a lot of tape on it.
He said, well, that's not what we do here. Uh-oh. I like, uh-oh. Where you go, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. I said, all right, then. I'm going to start practicing hard. I'm going to go all in. Yep. Start, blasting people, jumping over people, jumping up in the air, intercepting the ball. Ooh, I'm feeling great at practice. Guess what? That doesn't count, Andy. And he wasn't really on the defense side. It was the late great Jim Johnson. So yeah, that's when that's when you run out of gas, and that's when you start straining and pulling, kind of a la Julio Jones. See, in his later years, you start having serious tissue. It's because he's a Hall of Famer, and people think he can recreate what he's done because he still has the ability, maybe not quite as fast as he was, but he's still really fast, and he's a specimen, and he can still get it done if healthy. It's hard to recover from those soft tissue injuries, even if you were young, but even when you get up there, we're talking about, 32, 33, and you're pushing the limits. That's what I've said, man. It's hard to, contain yourself at practice. Let me go all out in the game, but I'm going to just run around in here and get loose and see how far I can take it, getting up to about 85. See if I can get to 85, because you can't recreate a game. It's just the adrenaline rush and the maximum that you're putting out. You're not going to be able to show that at practice.
Well, Julio didn't practice 2 days, then he had no injury designation yesterday, so it looks like Julio Jones should be good to go tonight. And then this happened right before we came on the air. Ian Rappaport tweeted, the Titans are activating wide receiver A.J. Brown for an injured reserve to play today versus the 49ers. So he has been practicing. We got more news?
Kendall Lamb announced minutes ago on his Instagram account he's tested positive for COVID. Titans are without Taylor Lewan, Roger Saffold, and Kendall Lamb tonight on the O-line.
I had Kendall Lamb penciled in as the starter at left tackle tonight.
It just happened.
Whoa. So all right. Lucas, who do you think is going to start on the left side of the offensive line, if you had to make a guess?
I think it has to be Dylan Radins.
But you're going to put him at tackle when he's mostly practiced at guard?
Ooh. I can't name another tackle on this roster. I can't. Can you?
No, that's why I was asking you.
Got it. Exactly.
Man.
So where was this? On his Instagram?
He put it on his Instagram. I have not seen the transaction from the team, but Kendall Lamb announced on his Instagram that he's positive for COVID.
Usually guys don't get out in front of that.
Well wishes to Kendall Lamb, because he also said in the statement he had some respiratory issues, and he's kind of just getting ready to go through the grind. So hope he feels better soon.
Well, we sure hope he does. But in the meantime, in between time, as I always say, Mickey, who the heck is playing tackle Uh-oh. Who is the best? Swain? The tight end? Yeah, the tight end go play tackle? Did they say, are they elevating somebody? Because we're going to, let's say, assume Brewer will be the guard. I mean, and if somebody else tests positive in the offensive line, they are in deep crap.
Well, I remember saying yesterday.
I'm talking about some for real poop.
But if one
No,
guy.
if I'm Tannehill, I'm like, hey, man, we're running the option today.
Yeah, and I'm going to hand it to
I'm
other people a lot.
yeah, man.
Run the triple option.
I'm serious now. People don't understand. Bosa, they move him around. He moves where he wants to go against the weak link.
They're going to attack that left side.
Yeah. I mean, no way, no how. I'm skittish for Tannehill already now. Just hearing that, even, it's not like Lamb is, great. But, man, he's at least got some experience playing in the NFL. And Dylan Radins, man, that's putting him in a tough situation there. I don't agree with that at all. No way I do that.
I mean, the entirety of what they have on the O-line, Ben Jones is a center. We haven't heard anything about his status. Corey Levin is a guard. He's on the roster. Aaron Brewer is a center/guard. We assume he will be the left guard tonight. Nate Davis will start at right guard. Kendall Lamb, as you just heard from Lucas, has put on his Instagram that he has COVID. Wishing and hoping the best for him. David Quessenberry, obviously the right tackle. Radins, who is listed as just an old lineman on the Titans roster, hasn't been dressing. Saffold is out with COVID issues. Taylor Lewan is out. So then you got to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But where we at practice squad, like somebody's about to get elevated.
Practice squad, offensive linemen. They have Derwent Gray, who is a tackle.
Derwent Gray.
Derwent Gray.
Derwent Gray used to play for the. He's a doctor now. Used to play for the Colts. Was a safety. Yeah,
maybe
that's not him. Unless he put on a lot of weight.
Derwent Gray, 6'4", 320, 2 years out of Maryland. Christian DeLauro, who was in camp and played a lot during training camp. He's listed as a tackle, 6'6", 300, 27 years old. It says he has a year's experience out of Illinois. Jordan Roos, listed as a guard, 6'3", 302, 3 years experience out of Purdue. That's it. That's who they got.
Well, the question is, did they get some practice time in a short week, or were they paying attention? I mean, because you got to think that they at least were backing up Lamb. One of those guys were, and now they're going to be elevated to starter. What happened to the one kid that started versus the Ram, Bobby Hart? Where did he go?
He's gone. They cut him back to the practice squad, and he got picked up somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
You'd love to see him right now, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I gave him game ball.
Yeah, I remember.
That probably got him cut.
He survived. I mean, he survived a week. It may have gotten him cut.
I mean, man, he showed
Derwent Gray.
Some promise. I mean, at least that he could be in an emergency situation just like this. I'd probably be a little more comfortable. But I haven't seen the other players, so I have no idea what experience they have, what's going to be the game plan, how do you adjust the game plan. I'm sure they came in with some adjustments, but not having a guy that's played in this league going against Bosa, that one there, no way, no how. So this is and this can also affect the running game that they have been, actually pretty decent at it. It's just no home run hitter like, the King, but they've been still rushing the ball. So, man, I'm getting heart palpitations right now. Why am I getting nervous about what's going on, man? Is that the fan in me? Like, I'm thinking about Tannehill and his backside, and that he may be on his front side real fast.
I mean, looks like he will have Julio and AJ. Can he just say hot and throw it to him like a hot potato? Here you go, man.
But even with great players, that could only last so long. Now, they may be able to break tackles and those things. And we got to, we're making an assumption here. And I want to be careful with A.J. Brown not playing for what it's been 3-4 weeks, that he's going to be the A.J. Brown that just stopped playing, a month ago. He's got to be sharp, and he's going to be better, yes. But how sharp will he be? So he was having issues with some drops a little bit anyway.
Yeah.
So I just want to see how sharp he is. Is he in game shape, which you don't know until you get out there. So he may be on a pitch count just like Julio. to a certain extent. He is coming off an injury. I think it's a chest, as well as I don't know if his knee was banged up too. I know it did last year, but I didn't know how much of a factor that was into this as well. When I was watching him do drills, which he was going maybe half speed, it's hard to tell what kind of injury he had. So I didn't think he was playing off one of the legs like he should have. But he looked like he had fresh legs, and when I say that, I mean like he got some juice in there. So it's going to be interesting. And then all of a sudden, Julio Jones is available. Also, Rhett Brian just texted you. He just signaled to you that some news is coming. More players, or who's elevated, or who's not. When did we know that information? Like an hour before the game?
Signed to the practice squad. Wait, did he just send me this?
Yeah, he was flagging you down. I could see out of my peripheral, that I used to see people who's trying to earhole me.
Derwent Gray. It says signed to the practice squad. Derwent Gray and Jimmy Murray.
Jimmy Murray.
Both offensive linemen, which Derwent Gray was already on the practice squad. Maybe they're getting elevated is what he's saying.
Or how much experience do they have as far as the league? Have they played in some games? That's all I want to know.
Oh, he's listening.
Derwent Gray's listening?
He's sending – no, Rhett said, I'm listening to you guys. You're asking about Derwent Gray. Here's his press release. He rejoins the Titans where he spent a portion of this year's training camp after being claimed off waivers from Jacksonville. He was a 7th-round pick by Pittsburgh in 2019. After spending the season on the Steelers' practice squad as a rookie, he played in 5 games in 2020. He was claimed off waivers by the Jags after being cut by the Steelers in the final weeks of last season. He played at Maryland.
He played with the Steelers then?
Yep. He played 5
last
games,
year.
2020.
That's not making me feel good. You see the Steelers' offensive line this year?
Yeah.
Well, he couldn't beat them out.
He could not beat them out.
Yeah, that's not, but, he's in a better system naturally. But, yeah, I'm a little never nervous Purvis in this one. Yeah, because the trenches is going to win this game and all the way around. I know with some great skill players, but this is both teams design their teams to win in the trenches on offense and defense. And it's 2 guys out, and then now we're going 3 guys out. There's a veteran backup in this league.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling
If only
really good
Blaine
on
they
that.
had drafted a tackle each of the last 2 years.
Well, we can't go shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's
I know.
not. They
Gosh,
did. They tried, and it didn't work.
Oh,
I think the risky one, Panda, I'm over with now. I mean, he just, he's got some issues. But the Dylan Radins, he didn't even play last year, and then he was in the FCS. So that's a stretch.
Yep.
Second round, because your second round guy, I'm gonna just use this as an example. Henry's a second rounder. AJ Brown's a second rounder.
Yeah.
They contributed, as soon as they really got on the field and became the dudes. You can look at Henry had a stud in front of him, took him a couple years, but he had a starter in front of him, but he was contributing even in those years to a certain extent. And A.J. Brown, man, he contributed almost immediately. Yeah, it's not making me feel too comfortable.
No, the kickoff 6 hours away, roughly, just after.
But I will say this, and I've said this about Vrabel. Whenever the chips are down like this, somehow, some way, he finds a way, and his staff and the players naturally executing that they play pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we can go back to the Rams. I mean, when, Lawan shows up at the game and his knee is bothering him, he can't play.
Yeah.
And they put Bobby Hart out there. And we go, who?
Yeah.
Is he is that one of the wrestlers?
Right. Yeah, people have a lot of questions. Who is this guy?
Right.
Yes.
Right. So I thought he did, considering he hadn't played, had no experience off the couch, from practice squad to elevated to, playing against some really good players. Hey man. Yeah, did he give up maybe a sack? Did he give up a lot of pressures? But, man, I thought I was like, hey, man, you got a shot maybe as a backup, maybe. But in an emergency situation, hey, you couldn't ask for anything better.
All right, let's keep trying to make heads or tails of what's going to happen tonight again in roughly 6 hours from kickoff, and we'll just be on all the way to kickoff and then all the way through the game on Titans Radio, and then after the game on Titans Talkback presented by Lee Company. It is going to be a full day of Titans football here on the Zone again as we try to keep you abreast on who's playing and who's not playing and what's going on. But we do have this schedule. We're going to get a check-in from the San Francisco side with Cam Inman, a newspaper guy and radio guy from the Bay Area, in town to cover the game. He will join us next. Talk about the 49ers perspective here on Blaine and Mickey. Don't go anywhere.
How many nasty waiting rooms have you walked into while waiting on your vehicle repair? It's like you don't want to sit down or touch anything because there's grease all over the place. Well, at Eurofix, you'll find luxurious waiting rooms with all the internet connectivity and refreshments you need in a safe environment. And Eurofix fixes everything European with an ASE certified technician. And not all repair shops have ASE certified tech, so you better watch out and make sure your vehicle is being worked on by an ASE certified tech. And Eurofix offers a nationwide 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on all repairs and a free loaner car with those repairs. And you'll like this, no surprises. No work is done without your approval. And Eurofix also offers a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection, and you can drop in with no appointment necessary. A former youth pastor and starting out with just $50 in tools, owner Aaron Stokes and his team have been repairing European vehicles for over 2 decades now. So if you want the best to work on your European vehicle, just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX Monday through Friday, or you can just visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But always tell them Blaine said you.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Should have Cam Inman on here in just a second. Covers the 49ers for multiple news outlets, the San Jose Mercury and the East Bay Times, and also 95.7 FM radio.
Oh, man, well, he may be excited now that he sees that, the Titans may be going with yours truly, Mickey, your favorite player. What are you hearing now?
There's a long thread of speculation on speculation via social media. Several of the Titans reporters just essentially trying to figure out what might happen tonight. And we were going through practice squad players and everything else, but our buddy John Glennon and some others weighing in saying that they think tonight the Dylan Radin's experience will begin in earnest for the Tennessee
But
Titans.
where? What position? I mean, is guard or tackle?
John Glennon saying Kendall Lamb, who would likely have started tonight for Lawan, announced he is tested. By the way, if you're just joining us, Kendall Lamb tested positive for COVID. In a big bind at left tackle, do they move Questenberry from right tackle to left tackle, asked John Glennon on Twitter. Then do they put Radins at right tackle, or do they just put Radins at left tackle?
So this is all speculation.
All speculation at this point.
All right, well, I'm going to give my speculation verdict. Yeah, this is a verdict. Don't move Quisenberry. Leave him where he's at. I know they're talking about, that's the blind side. We can't put him on the blind side. Well, guess what? I walk Nick Bosa. He moves wherever the weak link is. So it doesn't matter if he's front side, back side, doesn't matter. How about Quisenberry's been practicing there? Let's leave him there. Sorry, Radins. Backside, blind side tackle. Let's go. Let's go. Let's start earning some money with that second round pick. Yeah, you ready? I'm putting my money on that. He only gives up 2 sacks.
Okay,
but no caused fumbles, and he does a solid job because I think the game plan going in was already to help the tackles. So I think he's going to have somewhat help sometimes.
Let's go to the phone. Cam Inman joins us now. He covers the 49ers for the San Jose Mercury and the East Bay Times and 95.7 The Game. Out in the Bay Area. Cam, can you play left or tackle or maybe right tackle for the Titans tonight? Apparently, they're just starting to make some phone calls around.
Well, I think they should put A.J. Brown on him and then just see A.J. Brown down the field.
Man, so I know you're in town. I was checking out your social media earlier. Hopefully, you're having a good visit to Nashville so far, but don't know if you'd seen this just a few minutes ago. Kendall Lamb, who's a swing backup tackle for the Titans, had posted on his Instagram that he is out due to COVID. So the Titans may very well have to go to the often unused second-round draft pick tackle Dylan Radins tonight. I'm sure somewhere Nick Bosa is just relaxing in his hotel suite eating grapes, awaiting a big stat dump tonight.
I think it's really possible. I mean, Nick Bosa has had an unbelievable season. I mean, last year he missed almost the whole year with a left knee ACL. And he's come back. He's got 15 sacks, and I mean, it's not just the sacks. He's a terror on almost every down, even on run defense. I think he leads the league in tackles for loss. So, I mean, this could be a big time Nick Bosa show because the coaches and players on the Niners, they've kind of, it's award season, right? So you get the Pro Bowl stuff yesterday, and he's one of them. But he was actually the number one leading vote getter among fans for defensive players. And you can just kind of sense that there's this crescendo building of if he has a huge game tonight, then he's going to be right in the middle of this defensive player of the year talk, not just comeback player of the year.
Whoa.
Yikes.
Yeah.
We're just processing things in real time here. What has been the turnaround for the 49ers this year after such a tumultuous start? I know there was one game that Garoppolo missed, but they've won 5 out of their last 6, and they're now in the playoff race. What's going on?
Yeah, so I kind of pinpointed to about 5 things, and I don't know if I'll go over all 5 if I can get them off the top of my head. But offensively, one, let's start with George Kittle, a guy that he's taken root here in Nashville, right? And he has been on a tear, and he is the George Kittle, the All-Pro that the Niners need. But he had to miss 3 games earlier in the year because of a calf and Achilles injury. So the Niners lost those games. He comes back, and he's playing great, and he blocks great too, right? That's what makes him an all-around tight end. And then 2 other factors on the offense. You just got Deebo Samuel is become this dynamic threat. He made a Pro Bowl. He's the first Niner Pro Bowler since Terrell Owens in 2003. And Deebo, he's run for a touchdown in 5 straight games, but he's also obviously a big receiver with yards after the catch. So he's having a career year. And then Brandon Ayuk kind of woke up. He was their first-round pick a couple of years ago. He was in a sophomore slump at the start of this season, and then he turned it on. So, I mean, those are the main factors on offense. Garoppolo has been, the starter without a doubt, even though they drafted Trey Lance, and he knows this offense really well, and he's performed really good on third down, very sharp. And the key with Garoppolo tonight is, I mean, every once in a while there might be a pass that can get intercepted and you'll go, where the heck did that come from? The Titans need a couple of those tonight.
Well, they may need more than that. They may need some thoughts and prayers. Cam Inman joining us today, talking about the game tonight, covering the 49ers and in Nashville to cover this game.
Well, thanks for coming on, Cam, man. Since the Titans, they got all these issues with the COVID and injuries and everything else on the offensive line and all over the place. What is the injury update for the 49ers? I'm just praying that they got some injuries issues too.
Not terrible.
I know.
Their leading rusher is Elijah Mitchell, a rookie who had a pretty good year. I think he's like 750 yards, but he'll miss his third straight game tonight. But in his place, they have Jeff Wilson Jr., who's he's been in the league a couple years, and he ran for 110 yards last Sunday. So he can do everything that the Niners need him to do in this run-oriented offense. The other injuries, they're missing a backup safety. They're missing maybe one of their linebackers. They're in pretty good health, and it's something that's why the Niners are this franchise has been doomed by injuries a lot the last few years. They're coming in pretty healthy right now.
Do you think, coming from the West Coast here to Tennessee, is any advantage either way or disadvantage?
Well, the disadvantage is just the short week. I mean, it's just not fair on NFL players. You get 3 days rest and you're back out there. The Niners bus was pulled in last night off of Broadway. It was about 24 hours before kickoff. I happened to be walking, saw them, took video of it, and everybody thinks I was staking them out. I just happened to be stumbling upon it. So, I mean, they practiced at night on Tuesday night at their stadium, which is something that they don't do. And sometimes on these East Coast starts or Central starts here, they'll try to adjust the body clock. So you don't have time to necessarily do that. So, I mean, that is going to be a concern. But the Niners are like 10-1 in like East Coast games. I'm just saying East Coast just because of the short time here. And so it hasn't fazed them much. And I think it's not a mental issue with them.
Well, speaking of coming this way, I saw you did an article. I thought it was awesome. You did an article on how well they're playing when the stadiums are next to water. Kind of take us through that.
I didn't do an article. That was a tweet.
Oh, that was a tweet. Okay, yeah. I was like, what? Oh, that's interesting. Aren't most of the stadiums by water, or am I just missing something here? I know all of them aren't.
Well, I mean, some are just downtown, but I was kind of laughing just because
right.
I went on an 8-mile run yesterday, and I was like, well, let's think about this. They just won in Cincinnati next to the Ohio River. They won in Jacksonville next to the St. John. Then I'm like, what else? I'm like, well, you're right. They were next to Lake Michigan and Chicago, but Seattle's next to a big waterway at the Puget Sound, and they stunk there. So I mean, there is hope for Tennessee.
Oh, man, I thought it was perfect for our show. I guess I have to ask you this, but we're with Cam Inman, 49ers NFL reporter, and that is, when the 49ers were playing well, I remember watching the Rams game. When they're playing well, why did they lose some of those games if they actually played well?
Sure.
And not talking about the Rams game.
Here's why, and this is where the Titans can totally attack if A.J. Brown and Julio Jones are. Their secondary can fall apart real fast, just like a lot of teams around the league. And as much as they have a good pass rush, a lot of offensive tackles get away with holding Nick Bosa. So that'd be my recommendation for Tennessee. See how often you can do it, and then have Tannehill go deep. This team drew, I think, 19 pass interference penalties up to like maybe last game, so maybe up to 20 now. The cornerbacks are a big issue, and Josh Norman is starting at 1. He's having an okay year, nothing sensational, getting picked on and committing almost a penalty a game, whether it's a hold or a PI. But then at the other corner spot, you have Ambry Thomas, who started the last 2 games, his first 2 games with the Niners. He's a rookie corner. I don't know if they'll start him again tonight. If they don't, then it'd go to veteran Dante Johnson, who's a good guy, special teams guy, but he's not a great cornerback. So a lot of those fourth quarter leads slip away and just they'll get into penalty issues. And that's where they had fallen apart in the past, and it's not necessarily something wrong with the offense as much as it's the secondary.
That sounds good and yummy for the Titans. They need all the help they can get right now. We're with Cam Inman, 49ers NFL reporter.
Hey, you've written about this, and I know others have, and in listening to some radio and podcasts out there this week, what's going on with the 49ers special teams? Dropping the ball, and there's an issue with short kickoffs and some other stuff?
Their special teams have been a train wreck week after week. I mean, it was good in Cincinnati because Bengals punt returner dropped 2 punt returns in the first quarter. But other than that, it's been the Niners. They've had 3 different kickoff returners fumble away kickoffs. They give up returns. The punt's not great. The kickoffs is what has hurt them too. Is their punter usually kicks off and his leg looks a little tired, and so he's not getting it deep, not getting touchbacks. It's just what can go wrong has gone wrong with special teams. Robbie Gould's their kicker, and Robbie's very well accomplished and has a great accuracy, but he's been missing like a few kicks. Like it seems like one a game. He didn't miss on Sunday. So, but he hasn't been automatic either. So that's another weak spot that, I mean, and the Titans have a good punt returner from what I understand, and they might be able to find something there.
That we would be remiss if we didn't ask you about this guy. We're a Vol Network station. The emergence of Juwan Jennings. We got to see him play high school ball here, and then we saw him play college ball, and it just seems like he's really starting to kind of figure things out in the NFL. It's fun to watch.
It is. He's a very enthusiastic, energetic guy, but he's also a really good blocker, and he's willing to get physical, and that's something that Shanahan demands of his wide receivers. And so a lot of these plays that the Niners run on offense, they'll find soft spots in zones, and it's up to the receivers downfield to create blocks, to create more lanes. And Jennings has done a terrific job with that, whether it's on the boundary or over the middle. And he's also chipped in, obviously, making some catches here and there. He had a couple drops last game that were concerning, but he also had a touchdown catch, so that was good. But he's a fun personality, and he got his break basically because Mohamed Sanu, the veteran, sustained a knee injury, and so that kind of opened up the number 3 wide receiver role, and Jennings has done pretty well with it.
Cam Inman, our guest, 49ers reporter, in town to cover Thursday Night Football tonight on Blaine and Mickey.
Man, I saw you guys, Cam, had some Pro Bowls, but one of them, Trent Williams, is really, really good. But, how about the guard next to him? Because we've had some people talk about these guys, and that may be the best guard, tackle combo in the NFL.
It really could be. Laken Tomlinson's their left guard, and he has, I think, played every snap except maybe 1 or 2 since 2017, and he only came out to tie his shoes. The guy is, when you're between Trent Williams, who is the best offensive lineman in the league, without a doubt. I mean, I've covered the league for 20 years. This guy is unreal. And then Tomlinson's between him and Alex Mack, a veteran center who knows this offense really well. So, I mean, to have a great offensive line, you got to work well together. They've come along. The right tackle is an issue sometimes, especially in pass protection. But Laken and Trent Williams is, every game, you can go on Twitter and just look for Trent Williams block. There'll be something just ridiculous, him just pancaking 1 or 2 guys, just throwing them down. I mean, it's amazing. And 2 years ago, he was in cancer surgery for a tumor on his scalp, and he's overcome it and became the NFL's highest-paid offensive lineman this past offseason. And now he's headed to his 9th Pro Bowl.
Well, talking about Pro Bowls, any players you think got snubbed or will eventually get in anyway?
Gosh, that's the thing. It's so fun to talk about the snubs, especially when you don't have a lot of guys. The Niners got 5 in, which is a good chunk for a team that's only 8-6. But they all deserve. The only guy that I know, they only had 1. The only guy that maybe that raised some eyebrows is Fred Warner, linebacker who got paid as the highest paid linebacker in the offseason briefly, and then because he was coming off an All-Pro year, he's a model pro. He's a team captain. He's a really well-spoken guy, and he plays well. And then he just kind of started off slow this year. The guy that plays next to him, Dre Greenlaw, his wingman, basically, he got hurt in the season opener. And then Aziz Al-Shire was playing next to him, and Aziz struggled at the start of the year, and then he really came on. And then Aziz is he's questionable tonight because of an elbow injury. So there's been a lot of shuffling there at linebacker, and maybe that's why Fred didn't start off as well. But I think Fred's playing. He's coming off maybe his best game of the season. And if he feels he got snubbed out of the Pro Bowl, then maybe he's got something in mind for tonight.
Man, I have to ask you because I've been watching some tape of the the 49ers, and I can't figure out some of the keys and all the eye candy they have. But man, what why is Shanahan so good at play calling? Because he layers his calls and he's setting up other plays. You can tell, man. And I think it's an art to it, and I think a lot of people don't appreciate offensive play callers that do a great job like that.
I fully agree, and that's and when they win 5 of 6, that's everybody's can see that. But when they were losing 4 in a row, let me tell you what, people weren't thinking he was the greatest play caller anymore.
Yeah.
The system that he has in place is really good, and it just seems like there's so much untapped there that he hasn't really dialed up yet. And it's kind of like I kind of feel that he's saving some plays. Like he hasn't done many like gadget or trick plays or a lot of jet sweeps like they used to, or orbit motion stuff. But I mean, it's whatever he's calling right now, it's working really well with Jimmy Garoppolo, and having Garoppolo in a comfort zone is key. And obviously there was so much speculation all off season, the start of the season, of when's Garoppolo going to get benched for Trey Lance, because they spent 3 first-round picks to move up and get this kid number 3 overall. Well, he's not ready, and Jimmy is very ready. That's why they kept Jimmy, because he knows the offense, and they knew that they have a playoff caliber team, and that's why it's all meshing right now. They're doing well. So we're singing all their praises, and maybe about 10 o'clock tonight it'll be much different.
No doubt about it. We're on with Cam Inman, 49ers NFL reporter. And one more question, that is, when I was watching the video as well of Nick Bosa, it seems like he kind of lines up wherever he wants. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not watching him every week and every down like that, but looks like he can kind of line up against the weakest link on the outside and get after it.
He was given the license to kind of pick which side he wanted to go on. Once D Ford, got ruled out for the season, it was kind of like, okay, well, D doesn't have to line up on one certain side now. So Nick, where do you want to go? And the last few games, he's kind of gotten a little bit more comfortable on the left side, and he likes that because that way he says he can see the football in the quarterback's hands as he's going after it, because he wants to get the strip sacks going, and he did that with Russell Wilson in Seattle a few weeks ago. Just as much as I'm sure everybody here is rooting for the Titans, he's kind of like one of these Hall of Fame kind of talents. He's only in year 3 and basically year 2 because he missed almost all of last year. And just appreciate just how he is a sensational football player, defensive end. Trent Williams said he thinks he's the best defensive end in the league right now, and that if a guy went into a lab to create a pass rusher, they could come out with Nick Bosa.
That sounds like trouble, Cam. Playing a practice squad
at the end of this deal, yeah.
Oh, man.
Everybody's running me out of town now at that, huh?
Oh, man. Well, it ought to be interesting tonight. Cam Inman, people can follow you at Cam Inman. Really good stuff. San Jose Mercury, East Bay Times, 95.7 The Game out in the Bay Area. Cam, thanks so much, man. Enjoy your visit to Nashville.
Appreciate it, Cam, man.
I got to go find a barbershop now to try to look pretty for tonight.
All right.
Well, you can just jump in that lake when you finish.
All right. See you, buddy. Cam Inman. All right. When we come back, there's people on the phones. Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Josh, Dave, we will take the break. We will come straight to you next on Blaine and Mickey.
It's Christmas week, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, has a gift that certainly put you in the holiday spirit. New customers can bet just $5 on any NBA team and win $150 in free bets if they're victorious. It's a great way to put some extra jingle in your pocket. Everyone will get a free bet up to $50 instantly, as DraftKings gives away up to $10 million in prizes. And DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. All you have to do is download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now using promo code WGFX and bet just $5 on any NBA team and win $150 in free bets if they're victorious. That's promo code WGFX this Christmas week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee to bet. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. Ramon Foster, if you're listening.
Yeah, the phone is
report to
ringing.
Nissan Stadium.
Yeah, it's from the Titans, man. Answer. They
Tweet-
need help.
Him tweeting about the Titans having offensive linemen out. Ramon, sign a one-day contract and go over there and play tonight.
A one-day, $1 million contract.
Wonder what it would take.
Desperate
Ramon, if you're
desperate
listening.
times, desperate measures.
What would it take? We got Photoshoppers out there. Somebody Photoshop Ramon into a Titans uniform, send it to him, get his juices flowing, get that dude over there, sign him. He's a free agent.
Well, yeah, he's a free agent, and he's available.
He's so available. He's in the city. Ramon, what are we doing? It's 1:48.
I think
Get out there,
he's
work
not
up a lather.
answering right now because he's up there really doing the stair stepper just to see how far he can go. He can do it. Does he want a quarter of play, or can he go 4 quarters?
He's in his own TV chat. He's talking to everybody right now. Ramon, come on, man.
But he's doing it. He's typing while he's walking.
Had your groin, and Josh, Dave, we'll get right to you, I promise. Had your groin not been torn off the bone and somebody called you this late in the season, you moved back to Nashville, the Titans have been like, hey, Blaine, couple safeties got hurt. This week, what, 15?
Week 15, yeah.
Hey, man, can you get your butt down here this week and play a game?
Well, it depends on where my mindset was.
Yeah.
And how good of shape I was in. I moved on pretty quickly and started work for Channel 5 with Hope Hines and everything else. So once you kind of turn the page and you're saying you're done, it's hard to go back on that.
Turn it.
Not unless somebody says, hey, man, we bring you in as a backup bro. You can help us out. We're in a bind, and you know the system, scheme, and everything else. I think I probably would have considered it then, but most likely not. That's a tough deal. Man, you go from I'm turned it off.
Ramon out of this, though.
I'm just being honest. What I would do. Ramon could be still in shape, and there's not too many big human beings walking around like that. They're special guys now.
Yeah,
and in the trenches, so a little bit different, especially in the backup role. I think he maybe could pull it off. The question would be how long could he go in a game if he end up getting out there being a big guy. It's tough to go from, you're just working out casually, doing some spinning. Then all of a sudden now you're in a game and somebody's running, trying to pound you.
Nick Bosa.
Yeah, and one of the best.
Yeah.
If not the best.
Well, I think we solved the problem, Ramon, if you'll just pick up the phone. We got to pick up our phone. Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Josh in the Borough holding on for us. Josh, how you doing today? What you got going?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much for taking my call.
Yeah, thanks for making your call.
Hey, I just want to say we have good problems as Titans fans, and we're playing in meaningful games. I remember us going 13-3 in 2008, losing in the playoffs to the Ravens. I really feel like we peaked too early that year, and just with that in mind, I'm feeling very confident that this team will win a physical game at home tonight. We've got a healthy defense, and I feel like we have a great head coach in Mike Vrabel, and I expect us to bounce back and peak at the right time this year. I'm hoping our fans are going to be loud and that we change the narrative tonight and give these 49ers an L. Tighten up, everybody.
I sure hope so.
Boy, that would be a Christmas miracle
Oh.
based on what's going on with the roster right now.
I see what you did there. Christmas time and the miracle.
You're welcome. Hey, let's get Dave in the Borough, who also wanted to
they
win.
need that now.
Dave, what's going on, Diamond Dave? Dave, you are on. Oh, come on. Hey, hello.
There you go.
Breaker 549. What you got?
Oh, I just wanted to add that whatever happened to Jaylen Brown, it would have been really dynamic if they had Jaylen Brown also with Juwan Jennings, and I just never knew what happened to him. I knew he had some injuries in the past, and then
Jalen Hurd, you mean?
Also, yeah, Jalen Hurd.
Oh.
He was on the Niners.
Yeah, he had injury
They didn't know
issues.
this
I think
year.
he kept getting injured. I think they eventually released him this season.
And then also I'd like to add with Nick Bosa, what side was his ACL injury on? Does that make a deciding factor of what side y'all play, y'all's run, or your pass protection on?
Oh, with Nick Bosa. Well, Blaine and I were talking about this earlier. You came in today and you said it doesn't matter who they put. They move Nick Bosa.
Yeah,
he goes
moves
wherever
around.
he wants
He's
to.
fully healthy. I don't think it really matters at this point as far as his knee. You kind of approach him as nothing's hurt, and we're going to just attack him. One thing I would do against great pass rushers is try to wear him down, run right at him, and then, maybe that slows him down a little bit more on pass rush, being that you're a running team that you are. So got to test him out early. I'd run. First play would be right at Bosa.
with whoever was playing tackle.
Tackle and tight end.
Yeah.
I'm doubling down.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, second level. I mean, so yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. We got to let them know what type of party this going to be tonight here on Thursday night. We not playing. Doesn't matter. Because, see, you're at an advantage when you're an offensive lineman. You hope running the football. So that you know, I think that's where they're going to go. I mean, and I'm not saying target him as far as just running him, but I don't think it matters. He's got 15 sacks.
Yeah.
So I'm not looking at, oh, he has a bad knee. No, I'm looking at he has 2 really good knees right now. And he's one of the best pass rushers in the league. Him and they just faced T.J. Watt these last 2 weeks. So, and just think what he's saying when he watches the film and sees T.J. Watt. He go, oh man, I'm about to make some money tonight. As Cam Inman just said, he may go from best player, coming back from an injury,
Comeback player of the year to defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
On
He making
national
a statement
TV.
on national TV, man.
Put him-
And that's where you make your money right there. I firmly believe that's why Byard got into. He had big games on national televised games.
Except for
TV.
Big Jeff had a big game on national TV. And
Yeah, he did 3 sacks and a half.
screwed
Yeah, he got
in the
he
Pro
got-
Bowl voting.
Well, let's couch that by who beat him, who
that's
beat him out.
Yeah.
So you can't just look and say he did have a Pro Bowl year, but the people in front of him probably earned it just as much.
It's hard to crack that rotation too, isn't it?
Well, eventually he will.
Yeah.
Typically, you have to have a good year and then follow that up with another one. And
You
then
made
win
it year 3. I looked because year 3, man. 2-3 was in the Pro Bowl in year 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, making league minimum. Yeah, I'm still on my rookie contract. Yeah, it was
Year
like-
4, year 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I see you 23.
Yeah, accidents happen every now and
No,
then.
it ain't no accident when it keeps happening.
Yeah. Well, I got an opportunity, man. You seize the opportunity as though these guys who are getting to play.
Somebody
Dylan
tonight.
Radins, whoever it is out there. If you've been preparing as though you're going to play, you must believe mentally that you were going to get out of here and you're relishing the moment. You don't care if it's against Nick Bosa or not. Guess what you are saying? Oh, I'm glad it's against Nick Bosa. They may not be saying that after the game.
Right.
But going into the game, you must have confidence and say, guess what? I'm about to make my name on Nick Bosa. He doesn't have to do an exceptional job. He has to just hold the fort and do a solid job. That's not to say he won't give up a sack or anything like that. But you start turning to you go, well, if Nick Bosa is one of the best in this league, hey, man, I think we're on to something. He's going to have some rough patches. There's no doubt about it. You're going to learn on the fly. But if you start seeing the potential of what he can be, I think that's what you're looking for. And then as long as he just doesn't get Tannehill killed.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're going to get killed if we don't take this break. We'll take a break. Hour number 2 coming up. Doug Mathews is going to join us. We'll talk some Vols football as they head towards the bowl. But the rest of the time, we're going to talk Titans and 49ers. Ryan in Lebanon is on hold. If you want to join him, we'll also hit the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. All that coming up in hour 2, Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5, the Zone, hour number 2 on your radio. Doug Mathews is going to join us in about 20 minutes. We'll talk, look ahead to the Music City Bowl. But right now we're looking ahead to tonight's 49ers game as they are in town to take on the Titans. You can just stay here on the Zone. The rest of the day and into tonight, we'll transition into pregame programming on 3HL later today, and then the game will be on, and then we'll be on afterwards to talk about whatever happens. But right as we came on today, there were a couple things that happened. Number one, it was like a good news, bad news. There was a tweet from Ian Rappaport that A.J. Brown would come off of IR. He's been practicing this week, and that he would go tonight for the Tennessee Titans. He would be activated from injured reserve. So no sooner did that kind of blast its way through the internet world than Kendall Lamb, who's a Titans backup offensive tackle, who, because yesterday the news was Roger Saffold and Taylor Lewan would miss this game. They were ruled out yesterday, along with David Long and Laurel Murchison. So the Titans are going to be missing the left side of their offensive line. Well, Aaron Brewer had filled in at guard for Roger Saffold last week. Roger Saffold also in a late announcement yesterday from the Titans in COVID protocol. Okay, then you start thinking, okay, he's in the offensive lineman room. Would there be some other cases? Kendall Lamb puts on his Instagram account, who's a backup tackle, that he had entered
potentially starting this game.
Potentially,
assuming by us.
I think, yeah.
Or me.
We think he would have started the game. Past precedent said that probably would have been Kendall Lamb's job for tonight. He tweeted that he had entered the NFL's COVID, or put it on his Instagram that he had entered the NFL's COVID protocol. So you're without Taylor Lewan, you're without Roger Saffold. Lewan with an injury, Saffold with an injury, and with an illness, COVID. He started with an illness, and now he's in the COVID protocol. Kendall Lamb, the same thing that he announced himself. I need to check email. As of the start of the show today, we had nothing from the Titans that verified that. So,
we're going across the starting lineup for the offensive line.
Let's do it.
Starting left to right. Or let's go right to left. Starting with Quiz.
Yeah.
Quiz. Who's the guard?
Nate Davis.
Center, Big Ben. Who's the guard or left guard?
Aaron Brewer was last week.
And Dylan Radins at left tackle is what we're going to assume is going to happen here. I don't know. If they put some of those guys that were on the practice squad ahead of a second-round pick, I'm going to blow my stack. You got to put them out there now. I'm so sorry. We're putting you in a bind. But this is where we're at. So I wonder how much he's even practiced tackle. See? Like, man, he could be out there looking lost, or he could be out there looking like I've been doing this all week. And because remember, they kind of said he's a guard based off of when they dress him and don't dress him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to be the guy or not. It could be one of the guys off the practice squad.
Derwent Gray and Christian DeLauro are the two guys who are listed as
who
tackles
have experience in the league.
Titans practice squad. Yeah. I believe DeLauro has a little bit more experience than Derwent Gray, but they're guys who do have some NFL experience who would be available to the Titans because of the current way the roster construction in the league allows you to bring up guys, obviously, to replace guys who are on the COVID list.
And then Levin's going to be your guard backup guy.
Corey Levin, who could be a guard or center.
So you got your backup interior guy, and Dylan Radins. Man, he may not start. He may just dress. Listening to that, if he's a guard, he may not. Dare I say, not dress?
No, he's got. You have to.
I think he should start. I mean, but I haven't watched him practice. If he hadn't been playing tackle now, that's a tough one. I think they think he's a guard. But man, desperate time, desperate measures. So that means practice squad guy over Dylan Radins. I'm a big proponent on practicing the position too. I don't like moving guys and then they didn't practice there. That's tough. You're asking for a mental mess ups as well as the physical part.
We were doing a show one day and somebody brought up Justin Hunter and said he wasn't a competitor, and you said, "Stop! Don't. If you get to this level, you're a competitor. Don't say that. You don't know. Don't say that. If you make the NFL, you are a fierce competitor."
Mm-hmm.
This would be a heck of a blow for a guy like Radins, though, because he's competing, he's trying his best,
of course,
and just to keep having people move past him, and it makes you wonder: is it a development issue? Is it maybe picking up the nuances of things? I just wonder what all would go into him getting this deep. And there are weeks he still doesn't even dress. He's not even an emergency plan for the team. They would dress.
being in the second round. Now, if he was later round
Sure.
or undrafted, I think there'd be no issue. But the fact of the matter is he went in the second round. So it could mess with him mentally in his confidence.
Yeah.
Because he could say, whatever I do, no matter what, they don't believe in me. So it depends on his mental makeup. Some guys like myself, I'd be coming out there and they'd be mad at me that I'm going so hard at practice and we're in week 15.
Yeah.
They would be upset at me. Probably my teammates too on the defensive line. I would be really lit every day. Every day would be game day for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm about to show you whatever y'all think of me is not right. So, and I when I watch him, at least in run plays, and I'm going back all the way to preseason, I thought his physicality was there.
Remember, they put him out there. He played like every snap of every Remember?
Yeah.
That dude was a constant in the preseason.
Yeah.
He was constantly out there.
And then that's when I think they realized maybe tackle's not it, but guard. When I watched him at guard, I said, okay, I see some potential here.
It's a big athletic dude. He can move.
Mm-hmm. And he's got some nastiness to him.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm thinking about the Falcons game, right?
he was cutting, getting.
And then he was
boom.
then he was running down the field, showing his athleticism. So I just wonder how much further does he have to go because he's getting better with every practice. And let's not forget, he only played one game last year in regular college football.
Of one AA football.
Yeah.
And not taking a shot at anybody who plays it, but he didn't play one game for, Michigan against Ohio State. He played one game for North Dakota State.
Yeah. And what I can say is, which everybody thought was a no-brainer, home run hit, first-round pick, not by Robinson, but who played an interior lineman. And I remember having him on air, Chance Womack, who was the 10th pick of the draft. Ask him, what is the difference between college at Alabama, which is the best of the best, and the pros in the NFL? He said, oh, man, the guys are so much quicker and faster. This is a guy talking about interior defensive lineman, and he played at Alabama in the SEC. He says, I'm still adjusting to that. It's just it's different. He said, it was kind of strange looking at him because we went from talking about he loves eating tacos to that. Like, well, maybe you should put down some of those tacos and maybe get a little lighter on your feet.
Do you remember he bet against himself?
Right,
in his
with the
second
insurance
contract.
policy.
He took an insurance policy that
With
his
the
second
Eagles? Was it
he signed his second deal with the Eagles for only like a 1-year deal, and it was less than whatever the projected. You could take out an insurance policy. He bet against himself to make up the difference.
Or his agent told him, hey, man, let's do this. And he
Yeah.
said, oh, yeah, sure. But I would have said it was a no-brainer. It was going to be probably a Pro Bowl guard coming in.
He was a fantastic college football player
Oh, man.
at the highest level.
10th pick.
Yeah, he's the top
So
10 pick.
what I'm getting at is transitioning from college to pro, no matter
makes
where
my
you go
head
to
hurt.
school,
Ugh.
offensive lineman, it's a tough deal. It's a tough deal. And they ran the football, at North Dakota State. So he definitely understands run blocking.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a report, like we said, AJ would be active tonight. Julio came off of any kind of injury designation. He doesn't have an injury designation, which means barring some kind of setback, I guess, in warm-ups. You have AJ and Julio. How much do you help both of the tackles tonight with fullbacks and tight ends and just like a lot of two-man routes?
2 or 3 man routes.
Yeah.
I'm with it. When you got elite players out there, you can get away with that.
Yep.
Now we got to make sure, AJ Brown is sharp. Got to remember now he hadn't played in a month in an actual game.
Yeah.
So where's his shape at? In-game shape is a little different. So you got to monitor that a little bit. But he's got to fight through it, and he's going to have to do it for the team. So that means he, may not, block as well. Let's just say that because he's trying to conserve energy. And can Julio play an entire game? Whether he's catching passes or not, I'm not even – just because he's out there is a good thing just from a systematic point of view of a threat. But can he stay healthy? in the game. Don't come out at halftime. He can't go. Oh,
Right.
man. So maybe they did it on purpose. I don't know. Maybe they said, hey, but that Steeler game, maybe they thought they could win it and say, hey, we're going to rest up short week. We saw enough. Just get ready for Thursday.
If
Maybe
they held
did.
on to the ball, they would have won the game.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they didn't throw the ball.
No, I mean, if there's that too.
If they would have just punted, if I would have saw, it was
I
crazy.
said
If I
that
would have
after the
saw
game.
Kern a little bit more,
Yep.
I think they would have won.
With that defense, the way they were playing, they absolutely could have punted all
they
night.
were flying around.
They
I had
might
seen
fly
something like
around
that in a
tonight.
while. That was impressive.
Debo.
And they're going to have to do that. Guess
Kittle.
what they're going to have to do now? Not just fly around. They're going to have to create some turnovers. They're going to have to shorten the field. And I hate to say that because guess what? I'm sure that's what the coaches tell them. And then now they're going to start pressing, trying to make plays instead of letting it just free flow and happen. Because you're trying to compensate just like the offense did last year for their defense.
Yeah.
Now you're going to do the same thing for the offense.
You're making my neck hurt now.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I say things and your neck hurts.
Yeah. Well, my trapper was hurt when I came in here and I heard Dylan Radins may be starting. What? What happened to the linemen? Where did they go? Oh, COVID.
All right. There is some breaking Tennessee news.
Oh.
That is really good news for Vol fans. And we're going to talk about that next.
Oh.
And we're going to talk to Coach Doug Mathews. It's good news. It's a good news portion of the program, Vol fans. Stick around. That's next. Blaine and Mickey. Good news.
What you talking about, Willis?
Good news. Blaine and Mickey, 1045 The Zone. Happy Christmas Eve to all of you out there. Santa Claus getting a sled all loaded up. Maybe he can drop an offensive lineman off for the Titans tonight for Thursday Night Football because they're going to need one. We'll continue to talk Titans and 49ers in the next segment, but let's take a little detour, talk to our friend Coach Doug Mathews, who joins us now, same time every week. He joins us courtesy of the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. If you put down some drinks this holiday season or anytime, remember, put down your keys. Remember, fans, don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, just like our friend Coach Doug Mathews. Coach,
man.
Merry Christmas Eve. How you doing, sir?
Thank you, and same to you all.
Yeah.
It's a great time of year, and
It
we're
is.
I guess we're blessed with this. I'm not a cold weather guy. How about this weather?
Man,
God.
Supposed to be
couldn't believe
70
it.
on Christmas.
Yeah.
That makes me
man,
nervous.
It's 50 degrees out here. It feels like it anyway, with the sun. But, man, the Titans are in a bad shape. And I'm going to say the Titans because, man, y'all have an offensive lineman there at Tennessee, man. They could use him right now. He would start right now in the starting lineup, Cade Mays. I don't know what he's debating about, but I think he'd be better than the guys that they try to put out there, in this game that's available.
Kind of interesting about him. He has not said one way or the other.
I think he's a guard, by the way, in the NFL.
I don't think there's any question about that. That's probably what he certainly is his best position in college, but sometimes you have to move
You have
guys
to
around.
move
The
around
thing
'cause
about
he's
him
that
is,
good.
though, that he has shown that he can play both in an emergency, which is always good. But I'm a little surprised at that, too. I don't know.
It's 50-50
I would think
bet.
he's made I think he was made his mind up. You know, his father got a younger brother who's really coming on, by the way.
Right.
Cooper's
At center, right?
going to be, and he's a good, he's going to get better and better.
That's like the Dysons, where you got two NFL kids in one family. You know, what's in the water in these places?
Yeah, like the old Selman boys back
The Dewey and Leroy, yeah.
Yeah, I forget the other one.
That was the third. Yeah.
They were all
but-
good.
Yes,
so.
they were.
Anyway.
Some other good news for Vol fans. I teased this on the other side of the break, Sonny. You'd been here. Cedric Tillman just put on social media that he would come back. He says, we are constantly striving for improvement as a team, and in everything we do, we have made significant strides in my game this Well, I have made, he said, significant strides in my game this year. I feel like I have much left to prove in the orange and white. Therefore, I will be returning for my 2022 senior season in Knoxville. Let's run it back. Cedric Tillman. Boy. Woo!
That's
Yeah,
big-
man. Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, that's good.
Watch out.
Really from about game 7, 8 on, maybe even before that, Tennessee played 3 wide receivers the whole ball game. Jones Jr., who was an excellent player. I think if you look at the end of the year, which it is the end of the year, you look back and see everything that he did. He was an excellent blocker, could catch the short ball and make something out of it, physical runner, return kicks. He was as important as anybody on that football team. Peyton, the transfer that came in, actually from Hillsborough High School, but came to Tennessee one year. And then Tillman. Well, the other two have left, and Tillman coming back's a big deal. He physical, can run. He's a combat catcher, a good blocker, which you have to be out on the corner with all the little screens they throw and things out there. So that was not a surprise that he was coming back.
Yeah.
But I think Tennessee's going to have more. I know they're going to have more coming back. It's one reason why they're will not take as many transfer portal players as previously planned because they have a lot. They have a lot of players. 11, if you count them all up. Now they're not all. Some of them are COVID seniors. Some other are taking advantage of that COVID year. But you got 11 guys coming back that could easily have left for one reason or the other. That does not include Cade Mays. So if he would happen to come back, don't think he will. But I don't. That's just gut feeling. I don't know about that. But that's a pretty good number. Experienced players. All these guys have played at least 3 years of college football, if not all at Tennessee, and most of them at Tennessee, and many of them are 2-3 year starters, and that experience is hard to come by.
It sure is. Coach Doug Mathews, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey, Tennessee Highway Safety Office, making it happen.
Yeah, you're talking about returning players. You got both the tight ends are coming back. I think they announced it, which is really good, very familiar with the system. But who is going to play for Alante Taylor in this bowl game? Who would you guess? I know you're not on the staff and everything else, but who would you think?
Well,
They got
first
some
off,
experienced guys.
he won't play in this game, but they got a junior college player.
That's what I'm talking about. Who will play for him?
I don't know. Kind of interesting. When Coach Heupel was asked about this in his pre-practice for the bowl game back
was he?
a week or so ago.
Okay.
He said we'll have several players that will be playing in that position. And I would suspect that maybe Christian Charles might be one, Rucker might be one. I think Haddon, who transferred in last year and played some, I think he'll probably start there. But one of the things that happens, you don't want those players to particularly not play. Although I certainly can understand why Alontae Taylor is not. And to me, anybody that has any criticism with the leadership and the everything that he's put in that program for 4 years, I think it's rather silly to do that. But you look at these younger guys. There's a couple of ways. I think we talked a little bit about this last week. But there's a couple of ways as a coaching staff, not talking about fans, but as coaching staff to look at a bowl game like this. You're not playing for the Sugar Bowl. You're not playing to get into the national championship game. One way to look at it, and one that I started looking more at it like after I got out of coaching, it's an opportunity to get the guys in a game against a good football team that are going to be playing for you next year.
Yep.
Because, 7-5 or 7-6 versus 8, that's is that important? Yes, but I think there's more things important. And as you all know, I don't put hardly any stock in bowl games anymore anyway. I think they should be rewards. Sure. They used to be. Back when Tennessee won the 1951 national championship, they got beat in the bowl game. But the bowl game didn't count back then. They named the national championship before that because it was supposed to be a reward. A lot of people don't agree with that, but that's the way I look at it now.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw a Schuler. Navy, right? Is that his name? Navy. Pretty
Navy
cool
Schuler.
name. And I know, I think he's walking on, or is he?
Yeah, he'll be there's really not any difference between a preferred walk-on and a walk-on.
Right. At the end of the day, he's
preferred walk-on is, quite honestly, just makes the walk-on feel better that he's preferred.
Mm-hmm.
They want all of them, or they wouldn't be coming there. But,
is this a guy that could be under the radar, that could potentially
I don't know
compete,
about that.
maybe for a backup role or something?
I don't know about that, but it's pretty neat. I mean, his dad was one of the great players.
Sure
was he?
You talk about, different eras. If he played in this era with running quarterbacks and of course had a phenomenal year there, and has really been a huge supporter and a big supporter of UT football. Well, the University of Tennessee since he left there, but pretty neat. Heath was a special player, big guy. I don't know if you ever met him. Right?
Oh yeah, I met him.
Big guy.
Yeah, met him in person. Had a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you just talked about preferred and just walk on, and you saying basically there's really no difference, just makes the guy feel happy. But when you find a walk on that can actually play, how does the competition between him and a scholarship player really become equal? Or can it ever, because you're always, as a coach, he was a walk on, even though he may look better than the scholarship athlete?
Blaine, really?
Can he ever overcome that? By the way, I was a walk-on.
Absolutely, and let me tell you why. It's because, as you know, let's say you go to a team. Let's say Blaine Bishop's coming in defensive back. Well, maybe we're only recruiting 1 or 2 defensive backs that year. You got a limited number, because we need other things. Absolutely. Kickers used to all be walk-ons.
Right.
Most of them still are now. But no, absolutely. Now, here's what the preferred part gets you when they talk about preferred walk-on. You're only allowed to have at any one time before school starts. Let's move ahead to next fall. You can only have 105 players on the team.
Right.
Well, you got 85, scholarship. So you got another 25, roughly. After school starts, you can have as many as you want. So the preferred, what that means is you can come in early. You and I may both be walk-ons. You may come in early, and I could be just as good. But, again, they're looking at the numbers. Those preferred walk-ons actually are where do we need help? And normally it's linemen. In this instance, they need quarterback help. Somebody's got to run the scout squad. Somebody's got to throw passes and drills. So that's the preferred part of it. And you'll see every year around the country 1 or 2 players that get put on full scholarship because of that. So it's and you overlook guys. Let me tell you another area. Just wanted to hit real big. Let me tell you what's really going to start happening at these major universities. That's where a lot of name, image, likeness is going to go. For players that maybe Tennessee Tech, UT Martin, and schools of that size around the country, you're going to see these major universities go in and say, listen, it's going to cost you $30,000 to go to school here. We're going to get you a name, image, likeness for this. It's not going to cost you a penny.
Yeah.
You can walk on up here.
I think BYU's already doing that.
They had a guy.
Well, they gave it to everybody.
They had a guy that funded 20 of them. But you're going to see more and more of that. Because the situation is just like that. So maybe to call a preferred walk-on then might really be something. You're going to see. I think you're going to see as much name, image, likeness, not as much money, but as many walk-on players getting name, image, likeness as you are scholarship players. Because to get those walk-ons, good walk-ons to come in, we're going to give you a name, image. Like I say, the university's not going to do it, but we all know how that works.
See, that's kind of interesting. I don't know if I'm gonna follow that because I don't know how much that, because I'm looking at the actual players, and the players who play are going to be the ones that you can sell. I just don't know how that kind of works in college. We don't know. Anybody doesn't know.
Here's the way it'll work, Blaine. This will be NIL money that they don't care if you play or not. I mean, they do, but they're not trying to get anything out of it. This is to help the university, to help the football program get players in. It won't be like Nike or somebody like that put in there. Yeah, it'll be booster money. It's exactly what it's going to be. And all of them are going to do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got to keep up. Yeah, so it was always interesting because as a walk-on myself personally, I always felt like the scholarship athlete, and this was I was waiting for you to say, but you never said it, and that was that he was given multiple opportunities to mess up, and I was only given one opportunity. And so that's where the difference is. So you're saying a guy that's could get a full scholarship to Texas Tech, he's paying on himself that he'll get more opportunities based off his performance. And when we know in likelihood you are invested in the actual scholarship athlete, so they're going to give him more opportunities to mess up than you. You just got to know that going into it, and in the likelihood that you're going to actually beat them out, even if you're even, is unlikely because the coaches lean towards trying to be right than actually.
I would say that is fair. Let me tell you how I handle walk-ons. We didn't have a whole lot now. We didn't have a whole lot of walk-ons at positions I coach. But how I handled it was this: I let them know up front. Say, listen, if you're going to walk on here, when I was running back coach or the secondary coach, I want you to know this: I'm probably not going to be able to work with you much this first year. Because I'll give you every opportunity in the drills, but you're going to be down on the scout squad. Now you can learn down there, and the smart players learn down there because they're going against good people.
I did. Oh yeah.
And then when spring comes here, we're going to give you a better shot. But I also tell them this: there's a reason why you're a walk-on here, and that one of the reasons is because we probably didn't think that you were good enough to give a scholarship to. Now. Guys like you, but here's the thing, Blaine.
Well, I wasn't at Tennessee; I was at Ball State, so the competition level is a little different.
But it's still the same from this standpoint. The thing you get out of walk-ons are this: number one, they go to a school because they love it. And the second thing is, most of them, and I know you fairly well, most of them have a damn boulder on their shoulder, not a chip. And I can just imagine you were flying around knocking people's helmets off out there. And that's what a walk-on's got to do.
Well,
they have to understand exactly what you
receiver,
said.
DB, I was doing it all. Punt return, kick return.
And that's the whole thing. It's kind of like, hey, you want me to clean out the toilets after we practice? Which toilet you want me to clean out? And that's what coaches see. They see that. They see your dedication, and those are the guys that are going to get the chance.
All right. Well, we talked a lot about
having said that, not many walk-ons that play
in the SEC. That's just tough to do. No doubt about it.
Right.
I guess moving on, where do you see the portal, the transfer, the TP coming into play, or if at all, based off of the team and returning players, or do they have any holes that they want to kind of target with some guys in the
You talking about Tennessee?
Yeah,
I think without question, if you look at this team coming back next year, without question, they're going to have to get some players, some transfers in at the linebacker position. That was the weakest position on the team last year, and it's not going to be a whole lot better right now. Now, Mitchell's coming back. My understanding, Mitchell's coming back. So that'll help a little bit, but that's still not a very strong position. But the problem with the transfer portal is this for every school. Now, you look at Alabama. Alabama took two transfer portal players last year. They took Toe at linebacker, and they took the Williams kid, a wide receiver who was maybe the best receiver in the country. It's easy to see why he went there.
Yeah.
This year, I think they're taking two. They've got a defensive back transferring in from LSU. But the problem with the portal is the positions. What are the positions that are always tough to get? Defensive linemen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Defensive ends, quarterback. There's a lot of running backs out there. There's a lot of wide receivers out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a significant amount of defensive backs out there. But if you're a defensive tackle worth anything at all, you're going to be playing where you are.
Yeah.
You don't see those guys leave much.
Yeah.
Tennessee got the Tremblay kid last year out of USC, and he was a solid player, but, he wasn't anything to write home about. So that's the problem. And what I think we're going to see in the transfer portal starting to play out, if you're at a program and the coach is there, now you're going to see players leave when the coach leaves. But if you're in a program where the coach is there and you are playing in the rotation, you're probably not going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
The players are going to leave are going to be quarterbacks who are not going to play, and players who are not playing in other positions. Well, if I'm a head coach of some of these programs and a kid's not playing, I just soon him leave because I get another. He's not going to play for me, or he would be playing. If he wants to leave, fine, bring somebody else in. Gives you another opportunity there. But the big thing on the transfer portal and the name, image, likeness, it's so new that there's not a coach out there that has his arms around everything. And it's going to take some feeling out period of time, how we're going to do this. Michigan State's a great example.
Wow, they did a heck of a job.
They were probably a 6-6 team, but they brought in a bunch of transfer guys who played extremely well. Yeah. And then you got Alabama on the other side who didn't need to bring in any. They just brought in a player of need. But where you want to get your program, you want to get your program to where you're only bringing in 2 or 3 transfer portals. It's kind of like junior college players. You can't make back in the day, and you can't make a living bringing in 7, 8, 9 transfers every year. Can't do it. And be able to compete at a championship level. And you just look at the good teams. And I'm talking about the teams that are up there. They don't bring in many transfers. They didn't last year. They're not going to. Why? Because they've recruited well. They got good players on their team.
Well, being a new coaching staff, I'm just wondering, where are some of the holes that you think we need one player for sure, not as a starter, maybe just potential if someone gets hurt, but that can be at least has some experience playing at a high level in Power 5, and that they believe that can help them out.
I think
So what
Tennessee,
positions do you think
offensively,
they'll
I don't see one. It looks like with Hooker back, Milton's going to be back. You're not going to bring a transfer's not going to transfer in there and say I'm going to be third team. So that the freshman kid's going to be that the Jackson kid. I don't think offensively they have much. Maybe a skilled wide receiver, and it's kind of like recruiting. Where you put a number, say we're only going to take 2 of these. Well, if a great player is still out there, if a great player wants to come on your campus, you're going to find a way to get him on your campus. But I think most, if not all, of Tennessee, Tennessee has an offensive tackle from Florida, the Mincy kid coming in. I'm assuming he'll probably move into that tackle spot that Cade Mays, we think, is leaving. Mm-hmm. But all the rest of them, I think, are going to be on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe if there's a big-time running back out there, a power guy. They don't have a power guy running back, but you're probably going to see defensive. You're always going to take cornerbacks. You're always going to take defensive linemen. Right. And this year they must get at least 1, if not 2, transfer portal linebackers. I'll be extremely surprised if they don't bring in at least 1 and maybe 2 transfer portal guys. One thing to remember on that doesn't you can't sign, as Mickey knows from being an administrator, you can only sign 1 national letter. Mm-hmm. So all these transfer guys, they can wait and come in at the end of next spring semester. They can come in the summer. They don't have to transfer in now. So you're still there are going to be guys after spring practice. Probably Tennessee will have some that after spring they're going to say, you know what, I gave it a shot. I'm going to transfer out. Mm-hmm. But so what you have when you start spring probably is not going to be what you have at the end of spring. Mm-hmm. And that's when I think we'll see some movement in there.
Well, we're about out of time, Coach. 30 seconds or so, just a quick look ahead at Purdue. I know they've got a really accurate quarterback who's a fifth-year guy, and their defense has allowed 21 combined points in the last 2 games. They lost 2 NFL guys, but it's still a good team they're playing.
They are. I think this is a good matchup for Tennessee. If you just look at matchups because of this, Tennessee, when they've had problems defensively, it's been almost exclusively for one thing, a running quarterback. this guy is not a running quarterback. His longest run of the year was 8 yards.
Okay.
Hey, Coach, I think me and you can still run 8 yards, man.
I would slide quickly. I don't know about you, but-
I probably could slide, so I do
that's
face
a plus.
first.
But you never know about bowl games,
Sure.
because you never know.
Really
You know,
Who's motivated, who wants to be there.
You never know. But this is a good match. I think Tennessee will play well. I do. I think their team is excited about coming here. I know Coach Heupel is really going to utilize this time to get to know a lot of people in this area that he has not been able to meet and get to know. I know he's going to spend a lot of time with that, both recruit type people as much as they can do there, former players who live here, and good gosh, we got to have 100 of them living around there.
Yeah.
And then alumni and fans and things like that. He's very, very good at that, and he is very aware of how important Middle Tennessee from a recruiting standpoint is to the University of Tennessee.
Coach, thank you.
By the way, pretty good basketball game last night.
It sure was. We've been so busy with Titan stuff today, we didn't even talk about it.
Pretty good basketball game.
Ooh,
last
big one there over Arizona.
It sure
Look at
was.
that, man.
All
And
right.
Folky's back.
It sure was. He must have had pals before the game. He looked powerful last night. Coach, thank you. Happy holidays.
You
Merry
bet.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. See y'all
Happy
next
holidays,
week.
yeah.
Next week, Thursday's the bowl game, so we'll have to see you the next week then. And we'll squeeze you. Maybe you can come in
Maybe
early.
Wednesday. Maybe
All right, we'll
Wednesday.
figure it out. Our people will get with your people. Coach Doug Mathews.
See you.
Always have him on each week. Tennessee Highway Safety Office making that happen. We come back. Our final thoughts about tonight's game. And Ramon Foster has responded to our request that he play for the Titans tonight. We'll tell you what that is, too.
Go get your Titan.
He's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's given away up to $7 million in gifts over 7 days on FanDuel. What? That's right. Santa Barkley is back. Charles Barkley is giving away more than ever this holiday season through FanDuel Sportsbook. New and existing users open the FanDuel Sportsbook app every day between December 21st and December 27th for a new gift from St. Chuck. This is amazing. Now, FanDuel, you're going to love it. If you're already on there, you know how easy it is to jump from sport to sport, game to game, find a bet you like, find a parlay you like. There's always odds boosts and different things you can do. You'll love it on there. Check it out. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book, and you can see why if you just give it a try. When you win, you get paid in as little as 2 hours. So if you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up now. Use the promo code Mickey, M-I-C-K-E-Y, and you can even get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Again, that's promo code Mickey, M-I-C-K-E-Y. You do have to be 21 or older. You have to be present in Tennessee. It's void where prohibited. Restrictions and wager requirements apply. See terms at FanDuel.sportsbook.com. If you get a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. Blaine and Mickey 1045 The Zone. If you are an NFL-capable guard, report to Nissan Stadium.
Uh-oh.
Ask for J-Rob.
No, that's Ramon. He's the first in line. He's got to be. He can play guard. He may not be at the tackle. We don't want to put him in a bind. But, hey, man, I think you can show up in at that guard position.
That's true.
And do pretty solid.
I should say guard or tackle. That's right. So we made a public. Here's what's going on right as we started the show today. Kendall Lamb put on Instagram that he is in a COVID protocol and would not play tonight. This was after the news that Taylor Lewan would not play tonight. This was after the news that Roger Saffold would not play tonight and is in COVID protocol. So the Titans down a couple of tackles, down a guard. Aaron Brewer, we assume, will start at guard for Saffold. He did last week. The thought was Kendall Lamb would start for Taylor Lewan, but he is in COVID protocol. So we just put out the bat signal for Ramon Foster. It's like we just figured this out. He's immediately eligible. Just drive on down there. You're in Nashville, Ramon.
Well, the bat signal had a Titan T.
It sure did.
And he answered.
He said, if I was football training, Mickey, this would be an option. Wow, they are down bad.
Football training?
Training. Yeah, he's riding a Peloton, but he's not.
That ain't football training. That's what he said.
Yeah. I said, hey, man, off the Peloton and back in the league, baby. And he just sent LOL.
Hey, man, we got to get him out there, man. Come on, man. You can do for extra $500,000.
The only thing that stacks up to that is, and this is still one of the greatest things I've ever seen, because
that's really hard to do, by the way. So I apologize.
Remember who did it?
They did it halfway through the season?
No, at the end of the season. Neil O'Donnell.
Oh, well, that's a different quarterback.
That rascal came out of the YMCA and started the final game and won a game.
Yeah.
I remember watching him carry the ball off the field.
Yeah. Every time I see him, I just laugh, just thinking about that.
That was amazing. That was week 17.
Well, that's one of the positions. If you're still throwing the ball, I think it's one of the positions you could come in and do that, though, to be honest. It's still rough, though. You haven't been hit for a while, so he might have fresh. He might not be able to duplicate that the next week, but all he had to do was for 1 week.
He did it.
And Neil O'Donnell is a dude to do that. He is that kind of guy. He's like, oh, well. What I got to lose?
Hey, he didn't lose a game. They beat the Bucs that day.
Neil O'Donnell, man.
That was fantastic.
Great guy.
Shout out to Neil O'Donnell for sure. The 49ers special teams are by all accounts a train wreck.
Man, I heard you say that asking Cam.
This was out of his article.
I want to be worse than a train wreck. I wanted to be just pathetic.
They're pretty pathetic. This was what he had written about their special teams. Don't fumble kickoff returns. Don't muff punts. Don't miss field goals. Don't allow big returns. Don't go short on kickoffs. Those are all the things that they are doing. The punter is the kickoff guy, Mitch Wisnowski. His kickoffs are so bad, they're looking at Robbie Gould, who's 39, to maybe try to get him to kick off. They've been fumbling kickoff returns. Jermichael Hasty fumbled 2 kickoff returns last week. Travis Benjamin fumbled away a punt the week before. Man, if you can just get some field position tonight, even to give yourself a chance to get 3 points here or there. And you said this earlier, so maybe the special teams can help against a bad unit. Your thing was the defense got to hey, man, we're going to have to get some turnovers tonight. We have to get the ball back for the offense.
Yeah, I never liked that feeling there.
Maybe they got to score tonight.
Maybe, but hey, if A.J. Brown and Julio, I hope they don't have to score. They're supposed to be playmakers, so.
It's supposed to both be up tonight,
yeah,
A.J. and Julio.
We'll see how long, but for the time being, I'm assuming they're going to be up the whole entire time, and they should be making plays.
You said this. We were walking in today, and we just looked at each other, and you said, hey, tight end's going to have to block tonight. They're going all hands on deck to try to block Nick Bosa and that 49ers defensive line. And we had a reporter on from the 49ers earlier. He said, look, because we were essentially like, okay, what's the kryptonite for this crew? He said, it's outside. On defense, it's the cornerbacks.
Defensive back, yeah.
Or defense. This was the quote. I wrote this down.
Cornerbacks, yeah.
He said, secondary can fall apart real fast.
That means if injuries, but that's where you got a great pass rush, so – you're trying to compensate.
Like you always say, I didn't have to backpedal when the freak was here.
Oh, man.
You got Nick Bosa. They don't have to cover anybody. Just wait.
Yeah, so I'm about to see. We about to see.
Oh, my gosh.
And Julio and A.J. Brown can make a difference here, man. So we shall see. I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see who's going to start at offensive line.
No, I'm genuinely excited just to see what happens tonight.
Yeah,
I really am.
Yeah. Because this is when Vrabel's at his best. Right here. Boy, this is maybe the chips. This is the most I think I've seen his chips against him.
Wish chips are down, and we're out. We got to go. 3HL coming up. Yeah, our time's over.
Man.
3HL. Hey, they'll handle pregame duties tonight, so Dr. Smooth will be checking in with them. He's cheating on us for the pregame.
Oh, okay. We'll give him this.
One pass, one hall pass.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go. Hey, tighten up tonight, right?
Oh, yeah. Tighten up. Beautiful night. It's going to be lit. It's going to be loud. It's going to be fun, especially if they get that win. And they will get that win against the 49ers tonight.
There's the prediction.
Yes, we will get the win since we get to predict, right? But in between time.
Peace. We got to go.